Growing up in rural Greenup County, Kentucky, Ron Cartee never imagined he would achieve the business success he enjoys today. Living on his family farm, his daily duties were quite different from the land development and business management he would one day venture into.
My dad, he liked work, and he was a small contractor, and my mother was a teacher, not retired. She just had raised a family, and so we had the nice farm life. Had a Jeep on the farm. I was driving when I was 12, taking water to the people on the farm there and so on, and it was comical. I'd pour the water out and so I could make more trips. And then Dad would say, now, Ron, how come everybody, you're using as much water? I said, old man Boggs is drinking a lot of water. And he says, not that much now.
Ron's family always instilled in him the importance of an education, and he prides himself on his journey to and through college. Along his pathway to a higher education, a special mentor emerged as he began what was an educational milestone at the time, his 8th grade year.
And that special year, my 8th grade, Mr. Jesse Stewart was our principal. And he was well known then for over the state of Kentucky, had won about every award and so on that could be won. I noticed in 1973 that they presented him with the Doctor's Award at Morehead. And so that started me with Mr. Stewart.
From that point on, Stewart mentored Ron, even putting in a good word for him on a job search.
I went ahead and worked for him during the summer, and we was talking one day, and he said, Ron, have you tried to get a job, any place? And I said, well, I put my application in at Armco, but they're just, my uncles work there, my cousin, and evidently they're just not hiring. Well, you have the letter that it was given to me and that he wrote to them, and I didn't ask, I just told him that, and he just wrote a letter of recommendation, and they hired me the next week. So that's how I got to go to Morehead. I worked there my junior, senior, sophomore, junior, and senior year, and then I even worked about 3 months after I graduated from Morehead.
Upon completion of high school, many of Ron's friends headed off in one direction for college, but Ron took a different path, one he felt was meant to be from the start.
Morehead was always where I thought about going to school. Now, I did think about UK, but it was one of those things, maybe taking pre-engineering, and maybe I did take a little bit of pre-engineering at Morehead, and there's several of us started that was going to go on to UK, but there's about 40, and then there was one that went on, and it wasn't me. But anyway, and I'm glad, I'm happy with Morehead.
At Morehead, he felt at home. And like his experience with Jesse Stewart, he continued to find mentors willing to help him on his path to success.
My freshman year there at Morehead, one of the professors said, Ron, in your English, I don't think you're going to pass my class. Well, he told me 4 weeks into the semester. So I went to see Dean Lappin. One-on-one, you don't have this today. And I told the dean, I said, I think I can do better, but I'm going to have another instructor. And he overrode that instructor. I will not mention that instructor's name, but Cheryl Wilkes took me under his wing, and I made a C that semester. The next semester in English, I made a B, and then the following next semester, I made a B in literature, and then an A in literature. So that's how that people can change you around and change your life around.
Ron and his wife Diane married his junior year of college. Despite living in separate towns, they made it work, and Diane pushed Ron to finish his degree. After doing so, they headed north to Ohio, where Ron's venture into land development began.
We moved to Portsmouth, Ohio, and we started remodeling houses, and I kept my commercial work going. She did the homes, she built the homes, and I had the opportunity to buy 40 acres in the city of Portsmouth. And so our son, he was in college and in the 80s there, and then in 1990, I said, Ron, what could we go into? And he says, Dad, I've always liked Arby's. And Diane, by living close to Cincinnati at one time on a construction job, we were familiar with Arby's. So we got into the franchise of Arby's. We built one store, So from 1990 to 2010, I was a contractor and we built stores, and Ron Jr. did the operation and she did both.
Ron and his family very quickly found success with their Arby's franchise. They continued to build new restaurants and were recognized multiple times on the corporate level for their dedication to the business.
And with Arby's, we did very well. We won every award that Arby's had. We had all the Builders Award. I always tried and maybe tried a little bit harder. My wife was always pushing me, and my son was always pushing me, and I needed that.
Despite their success, Ron made it a point to continue to be involved in all aspects of the business, even if it meant working the drive-thru.
In fact, I come in one day and he put me on the drive-thru. Very good on the drive-thru, taking orders. I thought I was, but I knew every customer. And he says, "Dad, you got to move them along faster. They got to run through there not every 5 minutes, every 1 minute. You got to run a customer through. I'm gonna have to pull you off the drive-thru." So, but I knew how to run the cash register. I knew how to run the registers and take the orders and so on. But I was glad he removed me because I was tired anyway.
Through his journey of land and business development, Ron never strayed far from his love for dear old MSU.
I always think back of Morehead, and I reminisce too much because it was a great 4 years there. I guess it was just meant for me to go to Morehead and finish at Morehead, and that's the way it turned out. And I know I'll be 75, but I feel I could go back to Morehead and start over again, and I've got the energy to do that.
Out of all the awards and accolades he's received for his success, not much means more to him than the honor of being inducted into the MSU Alumni Hall of Fame.
It's beyond words. I know it's special. How does it? Let's face it. There's 66,000 graduates from Morehead. Now, a third of them might be dead, and they don't get this award if you're dead, so that still leaves 44. For me to be one of the three, how does it get any better? What other honor could give you anything better than what Morehead has presented to me? That's age 75, be 75 next week. I mean, there's no other honor that will ever be above this, unless when I go to heaven.
For Ron Cartee, Morehead State University will always be home, and he is forever grateful for the opportunities that MSU and its people provided him.
There's no college that I feel that could give you more than what Morehead has given me. Once an eagle, always an eagle.